Noise isn't just sound, noise is distraction. It's anything that doesn't serve your purpose but demands your attention. It's the algorithm feeding you 10-second dopamine hits. It's people's opinions of your journey. It's the guilt of not doing enough even when you're already doing too much. And if you're not careful, it drowns out your inner voice. Let's understand something about silence, attention, and focus to break through this noise, along with some day-to-day practical steps which I'll be sharing you by the end of this video to help you stay focused in this noisy world. When I started building businesses and creating content in my early days, and in the early days of figuring out my own path, I consumed everything. Every motivational video, every podcast, every book, everything out there, you name it. I thought the more I'd consume, the better I'd get. But over time I realized something. I was outsourcing my own intuition. I was so tuned into what everyone else was saying, I almost forgot to listen to myself. And that's when I decided something has to change. I've personally found out in my life that by keeping the noise out and staying focused, greatness can be achieved. There is no magic, it's just purely keeping your head down and working with originality and smartness and avoiding all external factors which have no contribution directly to your goals. There is a strong legend which says, "The stoic stands alone in the storm and whispers, 'You may have the noise, but you will never have me,' and in that stillness, he becomes untouchable." So let us also reclaim that strength, that one thing that we never truly lost, our attention. Similarly, in ancient Japan, samurais would train their focus by watching a single candle flame for hours. They weren't just practicing swordplay, they were mastering attention because they knew attention is power. But in today's world, we face a different kind of war, not with swords, but with screens. The enemies are subtle. They come dressed as entertainment, as productivity, even as motivation. But too much of anything, even good things, can become noise. Philosophers throughout the history have known the value of silence. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, even Eastern thinkers like Lao Tzu and Buddha, almost all of them speak to the power of turning inwards. Because when the external world goes quiet, the internal world speaks. But here's the truth, silence is uncomfortable. Hence, most people avoid it. That's why they need constant stimulation. Podcasts, scrolling, and TV and music, basically noise. But if you want to do focused, meaningful work, whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, or just living with clarity, you have to learn to be comfortable in the quiet. That's where the gold is. Because building a business and creating something out of nothing, it's not just about ideas or strategies, it's about clarity. And clarity cannot grow in a cluttered or noisy mind. And it's amazing how the noise fades away when you define focus. Now, what does focus mean? By definition, it means the allocation of our internal resources, our energy, our attention, our capacity to process and respond to the world around us. But let's go even deeper. Why does focus matter? It's just not about being productive, but to live with intention. And you can chase every trend and you can get some short-term wins and you might feel like you're winning in the short term, but you will end up losing yourself in the long term. Because focus isn't just about what you do, it's about what you become. And that's why I try to protect my focus with everything that I can. When I wake up as a man, I understand that irrespective of how the world is or how noisy the world is, or irrespective of how the noise is making me feel, I must stay on my lane. These days, a lot of self-belief is so low that it's easily shakeable by external news or feedback. They trust everything so easily and stop questioning things, which again leads them to believe multiple things and divert their energies to those plausible perceived realities instead of staying focused on their own. Especially news makes every problem in the world your problem, but you need to be the one to say, "Not my problem, you do you." It's so easy to lose motivation or lose value in your mission while seeing others online on social media and everything, while you are yourself in the trenches. And sometimes watching other people's stories and their life updates might even make you believe that the mission you're working on is not even worth working on. But that's not the case. Because the pressure and FOMO is real, but you have to stop being everything to everyone. And gentlemen say no without guilt. And this one is hard, I get it. I say no to opportunities that look good, but don't align with my deeper mission or my ultimate values. I say no to a lot of people, a lot of events, and it's not because I don't care, but it's because I care deeply about something else that I'm building. Because focus requires boundaries, and boundaries requires the courage to say no. And this isn't about becoming cold or emotionally closed, it's actually quite the opposite. Silence actually increases your emotional intelligence. Now, as I mentioned before, let me give you some practical tips to keep the noise out. Like once or twice a week, I go on an information fast. No YouTube, no podcast, no social media, no books, just me and myself and my thoughts. Just like your body needs a break from food, your mind needs a break from a lot of inputs. You'd be surprised how clear your thoughts become when you constantly stop feeding your brain all the time. And some small things which I do to keep the noise out is like I put off the notifications of most of the apps in my phone. I make my bed every morning and I try to keep everything at its place just to keep my mind clear from all the noise and distractions. Because obviously you cannot process ideas or have deep thoughts when you have a cluttered mind. It has to be still. Also, one of the important things which I have learned is that to just ignore a lot of situations, and the best outcome is when you walk away from most of the situations which are not worth your time. For example, when I'm in traffic and someone hits my car, so I don't have the time to go out and fight with them. Rather, I would just go and walk out of the situation. If when I'm a restaurant or somewhere and the waiter gets me wrong food, I wouldn't argue about it. I wouldn't give my energy and waste my time there. I would just be focused and I eat whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. So it's completely up to you where you want to give your attention and your time and where do you want to keep your focus. And about content also, I'm extremely selective on what I consume. I don't follow hundreds of creators or follow every trends. I like to go deep and not wide. I just have a short list of thinkers, creators and philosophers that I trust, and I revisit their work often, because to me it's not about quantity, it's about depth. Because in my opinion, shallow content creates a shallow mind. And if I have to summarize our whole conversation in one single line, it would be from someone I admire the most, which is Steve Jobs, which goes like, it's a noisy world, so don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. We live in a world full of noise, but peace is still possible. Clarity is still possible. Focus is still possible. Not by adding more, but by removing what doesn't belong. That's the art of life. That's the path I'm walking. And I hope somewhere along the way you find your own silence too. Especially if you are someone who is figuring out their career path in this noisy world. Do watch the video I have made to understand how it feels like to not have a job. And if you got your inner focus and attention back by watching this video, do consider subscribing to the channel. I don't post often, but when I do, it's intentional. And as always, build a life that's worth living.